I'm out in the woods on a glorious sunny morning after the first deep frost overnight has left it beautifully fresh and crunchy underfoot. We're in the Advent season now, and I don't know about you, but I'm feeling fully festive already. I went to a local garden centre yesterday to buy some woods. I'll have 2 acres of woods, please. To buy some logs, wooden logs for my wooden log fire because I'd run out. And the garden centre was absolutely decked with decorations and Christmas trees and baubles and ornaments. I love it. I absolutely love it. And no, it's not too early. And part of the plantation here is this plantation of 16,000, I believe. Well, come on, let's be right. We call them Christmas trees. There are actually quite a few varieties interspersed, and I noticed the other day they were strimming in between. I guess it's only just come to mind. Why would they be strimming at this time of year when there's no growth? Well, I suspect, although I didn't think these were a commercial Christmas tree plantation, I'm guessing maybe at least parts of it will be. I won't be taking one of them or a clipping home with me to the tiny house, but I think you can see just perhaps the clearing between. Yes, I've noticed. Yes, gosh, use your eyes, Shanks. I've noticed they have cut away the bracken and the sort of fern growth in between the trees. This can only mean one thing, I think. Well, it's probably good and healthy for the firs, for the Christmas trees, but I'm guessing they might be harvesting some or all of these. But I think they've left it a bit late, because most of the garden centres and garage forecourts have got their supply of Christmas trees already in place. You probably have to order them in August or something like that. So maybe this is for next Christmas, who knows. Here's a tiny one. That would fit nicely in the tiny house. I love these crisp, sunny, still, bitingly cold winter mornings, don't you? It just sort of reinvigorates the mind, body and soul somehow. It's sort of like pressing a reset button or refresh. Or did you used to have an Etch-a-Sketch that with 2 knobs, and then when you'd made some sort of image on the Etch-a-Sketch, you just shake it or you swipe it out. Anyway, a cold, bright morning like this makes me feel like that. But I am in a pensive mood this morning. Happy but pensive. Why? Well, this will be my second Christmas in the tiny house, unbelievably. Yes, I moved in just 1 year ago. I haven't actually celebrated that. I keep meaning to, but it's past its best before date now. I will do something anyway, but I'm also contemplating how to spend this Christmas and New Year season. Well, New Year is sorted because I shall be hen sitting in Eastbourne once more, whilst Mummy of the hens is walking in the Atlas Mountains and on a yoga retreat, and I shall be on a hen retreat, which I'm looking forward to, by the seaside, and get some writing done, which is going very well, by the way. I had a look at it this morning and sent a section off to a friend I met up with yesterday, my friendly tattooist, who is also a writer, and we had a good writer's natter over veggie breakfast, well, veggie breakfast in my case. And I'd planned to see my brother Bill in Paris before Christmas, but his son tells me that he's had a lot of visitors recently, and so please to leave it until the new year, which is absolutely fine. But I have in mind two things to fit in and enjoy before Christmas, and that is, I have a friend in the Lake District, and I'd like to go and see him for a couple of nights. I will stay in a spa hotel I've visited once before. That lights my bonfire, puts the decorations on my Christmas tree, so to speak, and hopefully he'll be pleased to see me. I'm sure he will. Morning. Yes. You can say hello. Hello. Lovely colour.
Yeah, so I go to the leaves.
Oh yes, you're camouflaged.
Yeah.
Oh, camouflaged dog. Is that evolution? No, don't go there. And the other thing is, on the way back from Brothers and Sisters, lovely long weekend in the River Wye near Tintern Abbey. On the way back, I said I'd like to, I was driving, so they had no choice, but I said to my brother and sister, I quite fancy stopping off at Church Stretton in Shropshire on the way back. So we did, and what a delightful little village, town, I suppose. Remarkably, it used to be in the South Pole. Can you believe it? Shropshire, 300 million years ago or longer, was actually the South Pole. So in those days, Father Christmas, who as we know has his workshop in the South Pole, would not have had very far to go to deliver to the kids in Church Stretton. Oh dear. Anyway, my brother visited the local Anglican church, and over coffee he said to me, Phil, you must check it out. It's one of those sort of lively modern churches. So I did after coffee, and he was right. They have, you can always tell an evangelical Anglican church from the arrangement of the seats. They've usually stripped the pews out, and there are nice comfy seats instead of hard wooden pews, which we did at St Thomas's Crooks in 1976, I think. Anyway, that's very nice to know. The other thing that gives the game away, it's a happy clappy evangelical church, is they have lovely embroidered banners on the wall. And this set of banners, which lit me up to see them, they were all along the theme of sayings of Jesus. Jesus, I am the light of the world, I am the bread of life, I am the resurrection and the life, I am the good shepherd, and beautifully hand embroidered large scale banners about 3 meters high, I'd say, on the walls. So to cut a long story short, I'm going back to church. That's the plan anyway. I've not booked the hostel. I've checked the hostel in Church Stretton, and you can, I'm not going to a dorm. I was in a dorm in London earlier this year and didn't get much sleep in a mixed dorm. So I'm not going to do that again. I tried to book a single room, but it was already fully booked. So I will find a B&B somewhere, just for a couple of nights probably before Christmas. Maybe even a carol concert if they're... I must get my act together. Oh dear. Never one to be over-planned, I am. Good morning, trees. Just say hello to my 4 lovely favourite talking trees. Well, I talk, they listen. They don't say much, but what they do say is hugely valuable. Last time I asked them about something, what do you think, such and such, and they replied, what's thinking? And that itself was a profound insight. One of John's sayings is, the only problem is with the mind is if you are in it. And honestly, my friends, that is so true. I can guarantee whatever situation you happen to be in, it only makes it good or bad if you think it's so. Just that might be a little bit hard to swallow for some of us. It certainly was for me when it was a new idea. Good and bad both. It's only if you think it's so. Yeah, that might be a bit controversial, that one, with the current situation in the world, but moving on. There's another. Good morning. Have you come to say hello? Yes, hello. Oh, there are a few. Yes. Lovely dogs. Who are these? You bet you're enjoying this, aren't you? You've come as well. There's a whole posse of them. It's lovely. It's lovely.
Just the 5.
Just the 5. Are you coming back with me to the tiny house? Oh, come on, look. I'm like the Pied Piper of the dogs. Come on, boys and girls. Do, 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 do. Oh dear. I've just adopted 5 dogs, apparently. Where were we? Yes, good or bad, if you think it's so. It's actually a blunt fact of the human condition, I think, a blessing and a curse, that things are not what they seem, neither good nor bad in themselves. I would say Bertrand Russell says that the fundamental substance of life is neutral stuff, and he's a very famous philosopher. So we take his neutral stuff seriously. It only becomes negative stuff, or positive stuff, indeed, with the application of the human mind to make it so. Don't you think? I think that's incontrovertible now. Maybe the whole of creation that we walk through is a construction of our thoughts. And yes, there are professional philosophers who would seriously argue that case, such as Bernardo Kastrup with a K. I've got a book recommendation. I wasn't going to turn this into a literary tour of consciousness, but I'm very excited because I have just started reading a book I've been waiting to be published, and it arrived yesterday, and I've already dipped in. Well, over a cup of tea in bed this morning in the tiny house. And you want to know what it is, don't you? Well, I'll put a link in the description as well. And it's by Philip Goff. He's Professor of Philosophy at the University of Durham. So he's a professional, he should know what he's talking about, shouldn't he? Well, this book has got the most outrageous title. It's called Why? The Meaning of the Universe. So, the answer, my friends, to life, the universe and everything, as posed by the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, is not, after all this time, 42. It's both and, neither nor. I shall let you fathom out that puzzle when you read it yourself. But, spoiler alert, I'm a little out of breath just on a short walk in the sunshine. Spoiler alert, it very logically and rigorously argues the case that the modern secular scientific zeitgeisty worldview, that everything is just an accident, a meaningless accident, a concatenation of atoms, he says is untenable from a scientific point of view. It's just so outrageously an unreasonable scientific proposition. So what's the alternative, you might think? A God-created order, which is, of course, the position pre-Enlightenment, scientific Enlightenment. Most of the early Enlightenment scientists believed in God. And science, when it started out in the early days, was called natural theology. And that was what they were practicing, including Newton, by the way, a very active Bible-believing Christian, believe it or not. He was also into alchemy, but that's another interesting story. Talk about checkered pasts. We all have them, don't we? I do. And also Descartes, the godfather of Cartesian mind-body duality, was a very genuine Christian believer. He wasn't out to pull the rug on God, the Creator. And now, of course, in modern ways of thinking, we've got the likes of Richard Dawkins, whose book The God Delusion pulls the rug on any idea of an intelligent creator God. And that's the standoff that I'm currently addressing in my own book, Mistaken Identity, at the moment, actually. That's the section I've just sent to my mate. But Philip Goff, in The Meaning of the Universe, he contends that it's not a binary opposite poles position, which is what really attracts me, because that's what I think as well. He argues the logical case that the nominal sort of designer of the watch, that sort of creative God that has been the cornerstone, really, of certainly Western Christianity that I'm familiar with since it began, is also not the sustainable, shall we say, from a scientific point of view. So he's treating it. He was a practicing evangelical before he gave it up for Lent, And so he's not anti at all, but he's trying as a scientist, as a philosopher, to get to a position that is tenable to us modern minds. And of course, I haven't read it all yet, so I don't know what his conclusion is, but I like the direction it's going, which is that no, it's not all an accident. It's far too fortuitous for it to be an accident, and nor is it fully explainable by Darwinian evolution, because there's a missing ingredient, and that's a goal. When you, as Philip Goff argues, and Thomas Nagel actually in his book Mind and Cosmos, they both take the approach which I currently am fully behind, which is when you consider that in this nanosecond of the evolution of the cosmos, however many billion years it is, it seems the Big Bang is not necessarily the true story or the true age of this particular universe, but I digress. For there to be intelligent consciousness, self-reflective consciousness, mind, logically it requires the technical term is teleological intervention. In other words, purpose. And that purpose, one of the interesting things he suggests is, I've only read 2 chapters. One of the things he suggests, it could be logically true, is that we were seeded by aliens, intelligent aliens, and so, or we could be a computer simulation. These sort of fit a teleological explanation of there being a purpose in the universe, which I'm perfectly happy to consider both of those. Also, the multiverse theory is actually logically an answer to the teleological issue. Is there a purpose to the universe? But that's a cop-out. Come on, we don't really believe that, do we? This one's enough. Anyway, how can an infinite universe be sort of infinitely replicated? I've only just thought of that conundrum. But back to the plot. Philip Goff, I'm bigging up here big time. I must let him know and see if I can. No. I'll interview him for my book. There we are. What he states he is trying to do in this book is to establish the logical necessity of there being purpose, because without purpose you and I wouldn't be here. And I'm sure I'll say a bit more about this when I've read the next chapter with a cup of tea in bed tomorrow. Have a good one. Ciao.